ride on the Minneapolis trolley, visit Hypercharge clinics, buy from Woodland stoves and fireplaces, shop at Shanghai Market, or patronize any of our great advertisers, you're doing more than being a consumer. You're part of the Soliday movement. Liz Soliday, if you have thoughts on potential partners or your business or organization would like to connect, reach out to me, Laura at am950radio.com. That's Laura at am950radio.com. Happy Soliday. United we stand. Solidarity forever.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Today, cloudy with a high of 45. Then tonight, a chance of snow with a low around freezing. The Great Wall has been your place for delicious Chinese food for almost 45 years. The Great Wall Restaurant is located on France Avenue along the Minneapolis-Edina City line, just blocks north of 50th and France. Check them out at greatwallrestaurant.us. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk. Welcome to The Gailey Show, the only daily LGBTQ radio news and talk show in the United States. I am your host, John Parker. Jim Pounds, my executive producer, here in studio with me.
Good morning, Chicago.
Good morning. Good morning, good after, evening, and good night. We're on in all time zones of the day. Also streaming on our YouTube channel right now. If you like what we're doing, subscribe. Click that like button and leave us a comment. Big show for you all today. In the second half hour, Minnesota State Representative Liz Reyer, a DFLer who represents 52A in the House, will join us to talk about the economy and affordability, healthcare, housing, and the impact of the Trump administration on the Minnesota LGBTQ community. So stay tuned for that at the top of the half hour, at the bottom of the hour, rather. Also, we're going to be talking about today MAGA's relentless pursuit of the Epstein Files as part of a deeply ingrained conspiracy theory that all of their enemies are pedophiles. And are we buying into a little bit of this because the LGBTQ community is painted with this pedophile brush and we are the targets of this all the time? We're going to begin to unpack a little about that in later on in the show here. But up first, America, what are you thinking? I need y'all to make some things make sense to me right now. I have some data I want to start with. Let's start with past due balances on utility bills. So your heating bills, your electric bills, your water bills, these are up just under 10% or $789 since last year. Now, these are not your monthly bill. This is what's past due, things that Americans have not paid yet. A 12% jump in energy bills over the same time period, 2024 to 2025. Grocery prices are up just under 3% since last year. And on Facebook, Jim was finding these for me over the weekend. People posting now that their healthcare insurance premiums are available for them to look at as they're enrolling for healthcare for 2026. Some before and afters. So there was one person that posted that their current premium was $300. For a family, it's going to be $1,600 starting in January. One person posting their premium was $244, going up to $800. And one person posting that their family currently pays just over $1,000 per month in health insurance, and it is going to go up to $2,300 in 2026. So there's that. All right. And then, I take a look at, I keep track of some polling here, and I see that the presidential job approval, Trump is only at 36% right now of Americans overall approve of how the Trump administration is working. 67% of Americans do not like how Trump is handling the economy. Just under 60% don't like how he's handling immigration. And 63% don't like how he's handling trade. You break that down by race, ethnicity. 50%, only 50% of white folks find him unfavorable right now. 66% of Black, African American, and African folks don't like him. 65% of Hispanic, Latino voters do not like him. Okay, so I also the country's direction. Okay, and this polling is legit polling. I'm often a critic here on the show of polling, like who is doing the polling, sample sizes, how long they were doing it, registered voters, likely voters. You've heard me talk about that. This is the Associated Press and the NORC Center for Public Affairs Research. They've been doing this for a while now. So going back to 2011, this partnership has been going on. This is a gold standard polling on a regular basis. Highly recommend. You can just go to apnews.com/project/polling-tracker. You can see all the data here that I'm talking about. Country's direction. 69% of Americans, U.S. adults, say the country is headed in the wrong direction. When I look at all of this, those data points about cost and affordability, when I look at these tracking numbers of the president's performance and U.S. adults and where the country is headed, their state of the economy, 68% say, no, the economy, not so hot. Don't like it. Don't like what we're doing here. I see the election results from November 5th, and I'm like, oh, yeah, Democrats swept the board on campaigns of the economy and affordability from, blue New York, all the way to, into Georgia and Mississippi, where they were flipping seats. But then here comes along another poll. This is from the American Communities Project. And also involved with Ipsos. So these are gold standard folks doing polling here. And even though I just cited all of those data points to you, here is what folks are thinking about the future. Okay, so this is percent of U.S. adults who say they are hopeful about the future of the U.S. over the next few years and where they live. Folks who live in working class country, their hope for the future has gone up from 49% optimism in 2024 to 61% optimism. Folks living in rural middle America in 2024, 43% of them said that they were hopeful about the future of the U.S. over the next 4 years. Now it's 59%. Folks living in aging farmlands, last year, only 48% of them hopeful about the future of America. Now it's 67%. I need someone to help me make sense of what's happening here. Jim, your thoughts?
When was that last poll conducted? Because
it just came out.
It just came out.
Yeah.
But I mean, when was the poll conducted?
Literally today, AP News was reporting on it.
Okay. Well, because I think it's in a state of flux, I feel. Let's remember that because the propagandists on the right have control of stranglehold on much of the media, people are not hearing true facts. We're not getting true facts on employment numbers anymore. We're not getting true facts on unemployment numbers anymore. We're not getting any objectivity there. So if they're being fed a bill of goods by Farce News or Newsmax or whoever, that accounts for part of it, I think. There is a kind of optimism that is hard to understand, that people that aren't as educated about things like the environment, if you really studied what's happening with the environment and knew the facts, you would be mortified. You'd be moving to the top of a mountain. And so I feel like it's explained by ignorance, or it's explained by not wanting to know the truth, not wanting to acknowledge it. But when I go into the store, I find food prices are unbelievably high. I find restaurant prices are unbelievably high. I find gasoline prices unbelievably high. So I always take my own measure in addition to any poll I'm reading about. So I'm in disagreement with the poll that says I'm optimistic about the future.
Well, just because you are. This is data.
Oh, I know, but everybody has to do the same thing. They have to read that poll and say 69% of people are optimistic and decide whether you think that makes any sense or not. Not whether you want it to be true, but does it, in your bones, do you feel like that's true? I don't, and I don't know where that comes from.
Here's a quote from the AP News story covering this particular poll. I'm just going to read from the AP News story here. The $15 price tag on a variety pack of Halloween candy at the Kroger supermarket last month struck Carl Gruber. Disabled and receiving food federal aid, the 42-year-old from Newark, Ohio, has hardly been oblivious to lingering high supermarket prices. But Gruber, whose wife also is unable to work, is hopeful about the nation's future.
Huh.
Primarily in the belief that prices will moderate, as Trump suggests. Quote, right now, the president is trying to get companies who move their businesses out of the country to move them back. So maybe we'll start to see prices come down.
Well, see there, you're right there. You've said it. That description, bringing manufacturing back to the United States, which I want to have happen too, will double the cost of goods. The reason it's being done in the Philippines is because we're paying people starvation wages to keep our products cheap so that Hershey can make a huge 25% profit. So bring the manufacturing back here, which I want, and it'll double the cost of any manufactured good. Easily double it.
I need to understand how Americans, 69% of them, in a gold standard poll, can say the country is headed in the wrong direction. And folks who are living in evangelical hubs, aging farmlands, working class countries, exurbs, rural middle America, middle suburbs, Latter-day Saint enclaves, and military posts all feel very hopeful about the Trump administration and what he's going to do. And these gains are not in single digits. We're talking double digits.
Propaganda is a beautiful thing, I guess.
But how can those
for a
two
while?
I mean, two things can be true, but how can those two things be true? How can you simultaneously, the majority of America, say, no, the country's headed in the right direction, wrong direction. And at the same time, you've got all of these folks here who are, I mean, rural middle America, 43% to 59%.
They were taught to believe. Now, you're going to get me on one of my soapboxes, which is religious people are taught, don't think for yourself, don't judge for yourself, do what you're told, do what we tell you to think. And the same people are being told it was all Biden's fault. These people don't understand the economy. They don't understand the cost of labor. They don't understand how any of this works. They just hope somebody's going to fix it for them. But frankly, there's no president that can fix the cost of goods unless you take away the profit percentage. And that's going to be a really tough game for anybody to beat, but that's what we've got to do. 3% rather than 25%.
Okay, I don't understand this electorate
I just
anymore.
explained it to you.
I don't understand. That's not a sufficient explanation, unfortunately. But we got to take a break here. Before we do, if you like what we're doing, you need to head over to our YouTube channel. We've got a whole democracy playlist. We've got our coverage from Texas and Chicago going on there, author interviews. Go to youtube.com/@thegailey show to check out everything we're doing there and subscribe. You're listening to The Gailey Show. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Across this country, LGBTQ rights are under threat. This is a struggle that the LGBTQ community knows all too well. Since 1987, Outfront Minnesota has been fighting for LGBTQ rights and protections here at home, and this work is needed now more than ever. Hard-fought wins here in the state of Minnesota are at risk, from the ban on the harmful practice of conversion therapy that passed in 2023 to transgender protection secured in our State Human Rights Act in 1993, and even national recognition of our same-sex marriage protections that we secured in 2013 are at risk. Outfront Minnesota has helped Minnesota become a national leader in LGBTQ rights, and they will hold the line to make sure we don't lose what we've gained. But they need you. Now is the time to step up and support Outfront Minnesota and LGBTQ rights here in our state. Outfront Minnesota needs your financial support today to strengthen LGBTQ protections at home, at school, and at the state capitol. Learn more and make your gift at outfront.org/give. That's outfront.org/give.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. November is here, so you're probably thinking two things right now. First is, man, where did this year go? And second is, oh no, I'm hosting Thanksgiving and my house is not ready at all. So you need to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to get things in order before your friends and family come over to celebrate. Every surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from hardwood, carpet, tile, rugs, upholstery, and more, so you don't have to worry about your friends and family plopping down on a nasty couch. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google with over 21,000 reviews, so go ahead and get clean. And don't miss this month's deal. Get 3 rooms of carpet starting at just $139 and $50 off an air duct cleaning. You just need to call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Celebrate the Thanksgiving season at Ferndale Market's annual Turkey Fest, happening at their on-farm store in Cannon Falls from November 21st through the 26th. It's a beautiful drive from the Twin Cities. Reserve your fresh, never frozen Thanksgiving turkey for pickup at Turkey Fest. While you're there, enjoy delicious food samples and grab lunch from a food truck. Enjoy their family-run farm. Again, that's Turkey Fest, November 21st through the 26th at Ferndale Market in Cannon Falls. If you can't make it to Cannon Falls, don't worry. Use Ferndale Market's online locator to find out where you can get your 100% natural and delicious Ferndale turkey. Ferndale Market is a third-generation family farm that raises free-range, antibiotic-free turkeys. Their fresh Thanksgiving turkeys cook faster than frozen ones, giving you more time to enjoy the holiday with loved ones. Visit FerndaleMarket.com for more details and to reserve your fresh turkey today. Make this Thanksgiving unforgettable with a farm fresh turkey from Ferndale Market.
Welcome back to The Gailey Show. I am John Parker. We are coming up on the bottom of the hour. Still in studio here with my executive producer, Jim Pounds. Okay, so it feels like every hour we've got something breaking as it relates to the Epstein headlines, Epstein Files, and new headlines regarding it. And last night, apparently, Trump was like, yeah, release them. Let's go for it. Get them all out there, which I'm still trying to figure out, okay, what is going on there. But I thought that I would take a step back from this because I've been very skeptical about this story. And the reason, well, first I was worried that on the left, the Democrats were going to, I was worried that they would start falling into conspiracy theories related to the Epstein Files, trying to work themselves up that there's something in there about Trump that is going to be the, the silver bullet that finally takes him down. And the emails came out last week and his name is mentioned hundreds of times more than anybody else in there. So there is something to that. There is something in the Epstein Files about Trump. We know that now. There's not going to be any denying about that. What is interesting to me about this story and why I still have some skepticism about it, some worry about it, is that it is part of the worldview of QAnon, of the MAGA diehards, of all of the, Uber, first it was right-wing talk show hosts and they all sort of migrated into podcasts and they've got, bazillions of followers on that all believe that the elites, quote unquote, your Clintons, your Bidens, your Obamas, progressives, and also the queer community are pedophiles. And the whole Pizzagate thing led into the Epstein Files. Now, Pizzagate, for people who are like, what was this one? Pizzagate was the very sincerely held belief that Secretary of State Clinton was running a child sex trafficking scheme beneath a pizza parlor in Washington, D.C. This came out of QAnon.
Yeah.
And when that sort of flamed out, Sort of like how, there's all these pastors that run around going, the end of the world will be December 5th. Get ready. Pack up your bags. Say your goodbyes. So when the Pizzagate thing fizzled out, then suddenly they found Epstein, and there was truth to Epstein. Epstein was trafficking young girls to the elites. The dude was put into prison for it and then was put into prison for it again. I get all of that. But it is a story that they keep pushing for because they believe that when the files come out, all of their enemies will be revealed as pedophiles, and they will bring down the global world order that they think is controlling everything, including whether or not they get laid. Oh, have you heard about the 80-20 rule? I mean, it's bonkers. It's bonkers. They think that part of this is that, women only want 20% of guys, which is why you are an incel, and apparently why you're not getting laid is because the 80-20 rule, and they are all in on this stuff. But this is my worry here, is that we are pursuing the Epstein files as the silver bullet to take down Trump at the same time that they're pursuing the Epstein files, thinking that when it's all revealed, we're all going to be revealed as the pedophiles that we have always been, and justification for getting rid of us. And the pedophile argument has been used to get rid of LGBTQ books out of schools, to get rid of curriculum. Back in the 70s, it was used in California to keep LGBTQ folks from teaching in the classroom. Now in Florida, we sort of have a similar thing, which is you can be gay in the classroom, but if you mention that you're gay in the classroom, we will fire you for that. We will reprimand you. We will put you, we will ding you, suspend you, whatever. Don't say gay, all of that stuff. So I just get a little nervous about all of this. Do I want the files to come out? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I want to see what those are. Do I think something is damaging there to Trump? Yes, absolutely. I think that they're there. But it is part of this larger worldview that they're going to find the proof to destroy their enemies. And that's where I start to get worried about things, which is when the Epstein files don't reveal that, what's going to happen next? And maybe this is putting the cart in front of the horse here. We haven't even gotten the files out yet. Yeah. But this whole, Jim, your thoughts?
Well, I don't see what it seems like an odd thing to be worried about. We know that. I always think of David Armstrong. Every time you say QAnon, he's a lunatic representative in Wisconsin who's a big QAnon supporter. And he typifies for me what the average QAnon right-wing MAGA person is like, I won't say any more about that. But this is exactly how powerful people have manipulated the dumb public forever. I mean, for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, right? They were always smarter, better educated, and they manipulated and they lied. And there was a great description the other day in a Three Stooges movie where they said, well, the dictator promises the dumb people everything, and then he takes everything from them and leaves. That notion that people are gullible, they're simple, they're trusting, maybe. They've been taught by religion to be helpless. They've been taught by a lack of education to be confused and desperate and looking for answers, right? Looking for easy solutions. And so I think when this dies, it will be like every other prediction and every other amount of baloney. It will reveal that sex is a major part of probably all people's lives, but certainly powerful people's lives. And it's going to reveal not just Democrats and not just Republicans, but a lot of money people, particularly, like you've said, Republican donors. I think it's going to just be a kind of an ugly instead of admiring rich people, we're going to say, oh, they're pervier than we are, or something like that's going to change the perception of rich people.
I think now that the Democrats have taken this up, I think we will get everything at some point or another over the next 2 or 3 years. We're going to get everything out there, whether they take over Congress in 2026, which I think they're going to do. We're going to get the information out there. There is this whole industry now around the conspiracy theories that QAnon throws out there.
Right.
There is a whole media ecosystem. There's an economy around this. And that's what scares me about it. But we are going to take a break here. And when we come back, we are going to have Minnesota State Representative Liz Reyer, who's going to talk about affordability, healthcare, housing, the Trump administration's effect on Minnesota. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Gailey Show.
Hi, this is Desi Doyen of the Green News Report and the Bradcast. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
The independently owned Next Chapter Booksellers is the perfect destination for your next book. The friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at making recommendations no matter your age or taste. Plus, they have frequent events including book readings and meet and greets with authors. And they sell more than just books. They have a wide variety of puzzles and games, too. So stop in and browse the store off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a left.
Not going to
then what you're going to do is turn onto
Marcy
Marcy Avenue and go past the first 3 lights and then take the next left.
I don't really
then drive
think
5
she's
more
happy,
blocks
but
and you should be
who am
there.
I to judge, right?
Park on the
Anyway,
right.
that's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wreck.
Representative Reyer, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello, I am John, host. Nice to meet you. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, I'm so pleased to be here.
Right. Also, we're still streaming on our YouTube channel right now, so these are all hot mics right now. But it sounds like everything is working on your end. In a second here, we're going to switch back over to the what's on the radio right now, so you'll hear the commercials. Do you see on the right-hand side of your screen a tab that says private chat?
I do.
Okay. In there, I will put the time cues so you know how much time is left in the break. So it's not just a
and so are we, after these ads, do we go right into it? I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I'll do my intro. You'll know when we're starting.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, we will switch back over to the radio feed now.
950. Ryan has always told me the best time to get work done is during the colder months of the year because demand is much lower. He is backing that up again by offering 30% off labor on windows and siding from now until the end of December. Call Snap Construction now to get 30% off labor on windows and siding. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Trust the company AM 950 trusts Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, and window contractor in the metro area. Get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Today, cloudy with a high of 45. Then tonight, a chance of snow with a low around freezing. The Great Wall has been your place for delicious Chinese food for almost 45 years. The Great Wall restaurant is located on France Avenue along the Minneapolis-Edina city line, just blocks north of 50th and France. Check them out at greatwallrestaurant.us. ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Coming to you from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter. Welcome back to the Gailey Show. I'm John Parker. It is 33 minutes after the hour. Also streaming on our YouTube channel. If you like what we're doing there, click subscribe, click like, and leave us a comment. Minnesota State Representative Liz Reyer represents District 52A in the Minnesota House. a member of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party for folks in Chicago. That's Minnesota's Democratic Party. She is the co-vice chair of the Health Finance and Policy Committee and serves on the Capital Investment and Commerce Finance and Policy Committee. I could cite a long list of legislative achievements, but one of the most recent was the Minnesota Debt Fairness Act, whose goal is to, quote, reduce the unfair burden of medical debt on Minnesotans that result from our inequitable and inefficient healthcare system. A member of the LGBTQ community, Representative Reyer, has been leading the way to support and protect Minnesota's LGBTQ community, and she joins me now. Rep. Reyer, welcome to The Gailey Show.
Thank you, John. I'm so happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. Okay, so affordability was the big issue that led to Democrats winning elections across the country on November 5th, including deeply into red states. And I've been asking this question to Minnesota elected officials about this cognitive dissonance I have about the issue of affordability, specifically here in Minnesota. Because on one side of the aisle, I see the trifecta from 2023, this huge list of progressive laws for the working class, paid parental leave, free college tuition for working class families making under a certain level of income, a new child tax credit, universal school meals, expanded eligibility for Social Security tax exemption. On the other side of the aisle, I see tax cuts for the wealthy. I see tariffs increasing our costs. I see healthcare costs soaring for 2026. Rural healthcare hospitals on the brink, grocery prices spiking. Help me understand how not everybody doesn't see that the Democrats and the DFL are the ones that are delivering for the working class.
Well, it is mind-boggling, isn't it? Because it's so clear that our focus as a party has been on making life more affordable for people across the state. One of the things I see, though, is that when I'm out door knocking, there are people who will never, ever benefit from these tax cuts for the wealthy, for the benefits for the wealthy, saying, well, I paid my own way through college. I struggled myself. And they're buying into this narrative that divides the people who have the least and pits them against each other to distract from what's happening on the more elite side of the fence. And so for me, what I find to be really helpful is to bring it back to really practical things when I'm talking to people and talk about, hey, but did you know we took out the mandatory add-on to gas prices? So now we're automatically saving pennies, a systematic amount on every gallon of gas we buy. We're making sure kids eat. And even if someone can theoretically afford their school lunch, life is complicated, life is hard, and hungry kids are hungry kids. It doesn't matter why. But I think when you can bring it back, do you want your granddaughter to go to school hungry? Do you want to not be able to afford to buy insulin and make it real to people? I think they're starting to get it. I'm feeling a change because it's so extreme with what's happening in the federal government and the wanton cruelty.
Speaking of cruelty, you are the co-vice chair of the Health Finance and Policy Committee, and folks are starting to get, because it's open enrollment right now, what their health insurance premiums are going to be in 2026, and these numbers are 3-4 times what they are currently posting or currently paying. We've been seeing the posting of this on various social media channels. I'd be curious your perspective on what's coming here as it relates to healthcare.
We are looking at a cascading effect on our healthcare system from the failure to pass the enhanced premium tax credits so far. Maybe they'll get there, maybe they won't. We took a step in Minnesota that I didn't like doing, but we renewed the reinsurance to help subsidize the individual market. But that could only take us about half of the way. And so on the one hand, we're looking at, I think, decimation of the individual and small group insurance system, which will drive many people into uninsurance, because people who can't afford a 60% health care premium increase also can't afford a 30%. You know, that it has to be both, and we don't have that. So uncompensated care is going to go up. Providers are going to go out of business. More rural providers are going to close. Access to care is going to be diminished, and it's all preventable, and it is all just, it does just put my hair on fire. I just can't be any more outraged by this. And then on top of it, to have done that in the last session, stripping away insurance from people without the proper paperwork and denying them access to health care, it's short-sighted, it's bad economically, and it's just pure cruelty.
Can you unpack that for me? Because I have a hard time trying to explain it to certain family members. That when people don't have health insurance, it actually affects them, because prices then go up if they're not able to pay for emergency care. If like all of this is cascading, and you can explain it so much better than I can. So explain to us why it is actually bad fiscal policy. It's bad for everybody. It costs us more when we have huge groups of people who do not have health insurance.
So setting aside broader economic impacts, because there's all of that too. If someone, you know, we'll just take me, for example, to start with. Let's say I didn't have health insurance and I let high blood pressure go. I let other health conditions that I don't actually have go until I am so sick that I have to go to the emergency room. Guess what? My needs don't end with just staying in the emergency room. I'm ending up with long-term, maybe lifelong chronic care. Chronic condition, expensive treatments, children who don't have access to preventive care or immediate care end up again with expensive treatments. And those costs can't necessarily be recovered by those providers or those insurers. And so they pass them on to people who do have money and who do have coverage. And then the premiums for those folks go up. I mean, the cost of care is the cost of care. And if you don't get care when it's less expensive, it's going to cost more. And the people with the money are going to end up paying for it one way or another. It just, you know, people don't stop being sick if they don't have insurance to get care. Does that help with your relatives?
Okay, I'm going to record. I'm going to take that clip and just send it to them. Sometimes it just gets so maddening. But we are talking with Minnesota State House Representative Liz Reyer, who represents District 52A, which for folks in Chicago is the South Metro of the Twin Cities. Next year is an election year. We all know that. You yourself are running for a Senate seat in the November election. In Minnesota, the session starts in February. What are you expecting is going to happen over that term? Because it's a split House still, and then one seat advantage for the DFL in the Senate. I mean, what can we expect in terms of legislation to help Minnesotans, if at all, given the split in the House?
I think that we will be trying, on the one hand, with the DFL side, to protect the gains from 2023, which we did a pretty good job of last year. And we will be looking to get visibility on gun issues. You know, after this horrendous year that we've had at so many levels, and it just keeps piling in every day, more gun deaths here in Minnesota. So I think, you know, I would like us to have good substantive hearings. And I think if we can force a vote, there would be Republicans who would support some of the more limits on some of the more extreme things. I think the GOP leadership knows that, and so they're going to resist it as much as possible. So I look for a lot of generation of public outcry. And yeah, so I think it's going to be, we're not going to have a lot of money to spend. Hopefully we're not going to have a lot of holes to fill. And I think everyone's going to want to be out campaigning as soon as possible. So I don't look for a special session.
Okay. Housing has come up a lot. It came up last year in the general election. It was part of a number of mayoral races in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Can you talk to us about your thoughts of why we're in the situation that we're in, but solutions that we can do to help bring down housing costs for Minnesotans and working class families?
I think that there are a couple of things. One is I think we can maybe slow the rate of increase. Absolute cut back in costs. I don't, it's really hard to get those things to happen with any type of prices, which means we need to make sure that people can be earning more so that they have more capacity to get under that 30% and not be housing burdened. We do need more affordable scaled units. One of the developments I'm looking at just in my neighborhood up the street from me is a place called Veterans Village, and it was built through a variety of sources, but there are these lovely small townhome types of units where, I would move into in a heartbeat. And, looking at it and saying, this fits beautifully in this single family neighborhood, and finding more ways to put limited scale multifamily without, as many expensive layers built into the construction, while still having it be safe and sustainable and a pleasing place to live. I think looking for those opportunities, stopping the continuing to hold the reins on the private equity acquisition of housing and the destruction of the naturally occurring affordable housing. We need to be careful about that, mindful about that. And I think that there will continue to be talk about how to affect the regulatory environment around housing. I haven't been on that committee for a few years. I'm not as close to that, but I know I hear about it from my mayors. And I think that we need to continue those conversations about how can we make sure that this investment in affordable housing can occur across the state.
I have just about a minute left before we have to hit the break. What would your response be to folks that are like, just build, build, build?
My response would be build what, build what, build what, because it needs to be the right building in the right place with a mind for the people who need it and with a mind to cultural competency. So cultures that have large extended families can also find places to live that are affordable, because that's a real gap right now.
I appreciate that. We are talking with Minnesota State House Representative Liz Reyer, who represents District 52A here in Minnesota. Can you stay with us after the break? I have a few more questions, particularly about the queer community here in Minnesota. We're going to come up on that break here. Before we do, please check out our GLAAD Media Award nominated podcast, This Queer Book Saved My Life. I interview LGBTQ guests from across the rainbow about a queer book that had a life-saving impact for them. Plus, we bring in the authors to join the conversation. This Queer Book Saved My Life is available everywhere you stream your podcast and at thisqueerbook.com. Stay tuned. We will be right back, and you can keep the conversation going. Follow us on Blue Sky. We're at thegayleyshow.org on Blue Sky, and be sure to sign up for our AM950E newsletter as well. We have more from all of the LGBTQ shows on our station. Stay tuned. More after this break.
History Theater celebrates the fascinating history of the St. Paul Winter Carnival with the world premiere of Rollicking, a winter carnival musical November 22nd through December 21st in St. Paul. Discover the strange, wonderful heart of a tradition built on resilience, imagination, and the enduring spirit of our snowy state. Discounts are available for students, seniors, and groups. Don't miss this vibrant premiere. Find details now at historytheater.com. That's historytheater.com.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef But I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity and styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. I am John Parker. We are coming up on the top of the hour. We are blessed to be joined by Minnesota State House Representative Liz Reyer, who represents District 52A in the Minnesota House. Representative Reyer, the Trump administration has been taking an everything, everywhere, all at once approach for coming after the LGBTQ community. You've been representing the community so wonderfully in the Minnesota legislature for a while now. I am curious about your perspectives as now that we're coming at the end of the first calendar year of what's been happening and what we can do about it. Are you still with us, Representative?
Maybe muted.
Looks like we have a technical issue
with
the representative.
I bet she'll come back in.
We will. We're going to work on that and have her rejoin us. While we are waiting for that, I really appreciated the perspective that she was offering to us on the healthcare, and I think just very clearly laid out the stark realities that are facing us if the Trump administration and MAGA in Congress don't re-up the healthcare premiums. It's going to be a very dangerous situation to not have those healthcare subsidies. And I believe we have Representative Reyer back. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me this time?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Don't know what
So
happened.
maybe we can pick up that question again of your perspectives on what the Trump administration has been doing to the Minnesota LGBTQ community and what we can do to respond.
Well, the Trump administration and the people who support him are doing everything they can to demonize communities that are causing no harm and in fact enrich our society. And so I think what they're doing is appalling. What we can do is, Minnesota fortunately is a place where we've got some protections in place. We need to guard them aggressively, and not sit down, not ever stop talking about this or stop fighting about this. Show up for Transgender Day of Visibility on Thursday at the Capitol. Do all the things that we can, including owning who we are in public so that we take out fear from people. As I do that even with things like my experience with domestic violence. I talk about that so that people lose some of the shame and the stigma. But I think we just got to, it sounds so simple, but we've got to just be fighters right now, I think. And we've got to protect our youth. I mean, the threat around conversion therapy being allowed again, and the ridiculousness around girls' sports. My daughter was a hockey player, and my daughter was a goalie and got concussions, and they were from playing with girls. I mean, kids are going to get hurt in sports, and you don't demonize the few kids who are trans kids. Trans girls are girls. So.
Right.
You are running for, thank you for that. And a final transition. You are running for the Minnesota Senate in 2026. And I know, Jim, you've got a question about that.
Well, it's an interesting perspective. I thought about running for the assembly in Wisconsin, that sort of first rung of the legislature. When you're making the transition to the state Senate, does your perspective change in any way? It's a more people and a larger physical area, or is it pretty much business as usual?
I've thought about that a lot because I always thought I would remain in the House and build some seniority. And then when Senator Carlson decided to retire, I realized that what I've observed is that senators' voices, while none of us think they're more important, they are more often listened to. Mm-hmm. And so, okay, then I will take this opportunity to use that platform. That's how I've felt about it since my first endorsement. If I don't get endorsed, I at least have a chance to speak out for equity and justice. Okay, if I don't make it through the primary, I still had a chance, and so on. So I'll just keep doing that.
I'm really glad you're there. I'm very proud you're there.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. It's really touching.
How can folks connect with you? Because I know you keep a blog officially, and you've got newsletters for following what's going to happen when the session does start in February for your constituents. If they want to get in touch with you, what are the ways that folks can reach out?
Yep. LizReyer.com. That's REYER. That's my campaign side, and I have a newsletter people can sign up for, and I have people on it from all over the country. You don't have to be local to get the newsletter. Same with my house. Go to house.mn.gov and look me up. We have the information, and then I'm on various socials, Blue Sky and Insta, and Facebook in particular. I walked away from X when they went to the devil. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so did we. And when Facebook put on there that they, explicitly said that, users go ahead, call, LGBTQ mentally ill, and tell women that tell people that women are your property. Go ahead, just explicitly say these things. I was like, no, I'm done with you, Meta. We're out.
Yeah, I know.
We're just on Blue Sky right now and YouTube. And when Blue Sky goes fascist, I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. Representative Reyer, very happy that we had time to talk with you today. Hopefully we'll be able to talk to you again in 2026 to hear how things are going in the legislature and on your campaign. But for right now, thank you for the time that you've given us.
Thank you.
I've loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for listening and or watching today. If you are on YouTube, subscribe, click like, leave us a comment. For folks in Chicago, up next is WCPT. Up next on WCPT is Choose Views with our friend Richard Chu on AM 950 Radio. It is the Matt McNeil Show. Stay tuned after that for Native Roots Radio. And then at 10 p.m. Central, step into the unknown with Greg Bakken on Ghost Box Radio. And until this time tomorrow, keep it queer, America.
Keep it queer.
Oh.